much. I want to bring in now former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Sarah Sanders. And Sarah, it's great to see you. Thanks for doing the program today. The White House and the Senate debate impeachment strategy. I want to talk about it from the perspective of the GOP now. What needs to happen next in terms of how they handle this?
Look, I think this whole thing has been a huge waste of time from the beginning. What happened today was predictable, and I think it's a disgrace to members of Congress across the board. Nancy Pelosi made it clear in her remarks yesterday, this is something they've been working on for 2.5 years. This was something they've had planned all along. They don't like this president. They don't like that he continues to deliver on everything he said he was going to do, and they're looking for every way they can to take him down. I think it is a terrible thing for the country that they have used the impeachment tool and process, something that should be held for really big things to protect the presidency. And what they've done, if anyone is abusing power, it's the members of the House Democrats who are abusing this power and using impeachment as a political tool instead of what it is meant to be. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter. The president is going to go to the Senate. He'll be vindicated there, and he can get back to doing the work of the American people, get back to doing all the things that he's been doing. Just look at this week alone. While the Democrats were wasting their time, the president has delivered on USMCA, a major trade deal. This morning, he announced another historic trade deal that has been reached with China. Not only that, he signed on an executive order on anti-Semitism. He's also held a huge summit with his daughter Ivanka on paid family leave. And that's just this week alone. The president's continuing to deliver, and I think we're going to go to the Senate. This thing's going to go away, and we get back to doing the work of the people.
You know, I'm wondering if there's some room, though, to do some bipartisan work, too, and if the Democrats would want Republicans to come to the table, the prescription drug cost cutting plan that was brought forth. Do you see this sort of trend continuing, and can there be some bipartisanship with the White House on issues like that?
I think that's a question for the Democrats. The president and the White House have been willing to work with Democrats since he first came into office. He has tried on a number of occasions to engage them on important issues, but they've been so unwilling to do anything that makes the president look good and show cooperation because they've been so singularly focused on taking him down.
I want to just quickly hear right now from Michigan Congresswoman ELISSA SLOTKIN, one of the several Democrats from battleground districts who are still, they say, undecided on impeachment. Let's watch and I'll get your reaction.
Sometimes you have to make calls that aren't based on a poll or on some political consultant. And if this is the end of my political career, at least I'm doing what I think is right, and I'm basing my decisions on integrity. That is the most I can do.
Sarah, what do you say when you hear that?
I think if that is really what the Congresswoman is doing, is basing this vote off of integrity and on doing what's right, then she won't support this impeachment process. I think if she's really looking at doing what's right, I mean, let's not forget, Harris, they spent weeks trying to figure out exactly what they could impeach the president on. They never had anything. They kept trying to decide, and they poll tested what they thought would work best. When they got nothing from that, they came up with this ridiculous abuse of power and obstruction of Congress.
How do you know they poll tested it?
I mean, that's what's been reported widely, that they've poll tested specific names and words. I certainly know that the news reports are not always accurate, so I reserve the right for that not to be correct. But it seems like that has been widely reported and accepted, and no one's really pushed back on the fact that they've done that.
I want to ask you about something Stephanie Grisham, who, when you departed, she stepped in and took role of the White House press secretary, told me this week, and she said she and the White House are surprised that the articles of impeachment was not a longer list, like 4 or 5 of them, that there were only 2. What is your reaction to that?
I think she's exactly right, because they've spent so much time trying to figure out how they could attack the president. They made it sound like they had all of these things come together, when in reality they had nothing. All of the witnesses that came forward, none of them really saw anything because nothing took place. At the end of the day, the president did nothing wrong, and they are grasping at straws on trying to figure out how they can impeach him. It's exactly like Nancy Pelosi said last night. They've been working on this for 2.5 years. She made that loud and clear that this had nothing to do with the Ukraine call and everything to do with trying to take out a president they simply don't like. That's not what the impeachment process is about. And frankly, the American people are smarter and better than that. And I think that's why you're seeing such a shift in the polls in the president's favor.
And what I heard the speaker say was that the Mueller investigation started 2.5 years ago. We'll move on. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's working closely with the White House. In fact, he says there's really, the White House lawyers, there's no daylight between them. Is there more of a strategy now headed into the Senate than there was perhaps early on when the president and the White House were taking some criticism for not having a singular strategy among Republicans in a war room?
I think they're working very closely together. I'll let the White House speak to specific strategies. I think it's a good thing that there is cooperation between the White House and the Senate. What I'd like to see is a quick process in the Senate. I know some people want to drag this out and make the case. Look, frankly, because I think it's a huge waste of time. I think if we can get this over with and be done with it, nothing was done wrong. I think we saw all of that play out in the House process.
So why do some Republicans say that they want, they want to be able to call witnesses and maybe even draw it out so that it looks like they've done everything that they can do?
And I'm not saying that's necessarily the wrong thing, because they want to see and make the case for the president. They want to call some of these witnesses up, and that's one strategy. I just think they're better off moving on and getting back to the business that people actually care about. Look, the president is delivering. I think he should continue to be able to do that and focus solely on helping the American people, continuing to grow the economy, continuing to make great trade deals, and that's what I'd like to see him and all of Congress be able to spend all of their time focused on. Not another ridiculous witch hunt that we have wasted so much time on over the last 2.5 years.
Look, the president from the White House today said it's been a wild week. I have said this time and time again. USMCA and China trade, wait until it happens. And those things are happening now, phase one of China. Any other time, those would have been the top lines, if you will, of all the news this week. We are covering it here at Fox. Just wanted to put that out there. Those are some big nuggets of news. Sarah Sanders, great to have you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris. Always good to be with you.